The Varel Empire had catalogued 1,000 war forms. They had studied leviathans that swam through stars. They had recorded species that fought with gravity. They had survived predators made of living plasma. They thought they understood violence. They thought they understood endurance. They thought they understood how far a body could be pushed before it broke. They were wrong, because then they saw a human gym. No shields, no armor, no medical technicians. Just ordinary humans voluntarily walking into a building full of heavy metal, loud noise, and pain, and paying for the privilege. They watched humans run in place until they nearly collapsed. They watched them crawl on the floor, bodies shaking, faces red, veins bulging, not because they were being punished, but because they called it leg day. The Varel didn't know what a leg day was, but after one afternoon of surveillance, the entire observation team filed a unified report. Humans are preparing for a war no one else can perceive. What they didn't realize was this: the humans weren't even training for war. They were just trying to get a pump for Instagram. This is the story of what happened when an alien empire misinterpreted a human gym as a military training facility, and why the galaxy added a new entry to its list of forbidden worlds. Do not provoke the species that pays for torture. Commander Raztil of the Virel Reconnaissance Corps prided himself on not being easily disturbed. He'd once watched an entire moon get eaten by a rogue gravity well without flinching. He'd dispassionately observed predator worlds where every organism had at least 4 rows of teeth. He'd even documented the war chants of the Borkai, a species that punched each other through walls as warm-up. But this disturbed him. He stood in front of the main observation screen on Deck 3, mandibles tight, eyes narrowed. The feed showed a live view from a hidden drone hovering above a mundane Terran building. Rectangular, concrete, neon sign. The human designation, Iron Temple Fitness. Raztil had expected to finally see formal military drills, weapons testing, maybe a barracks. Instead, he saw chaos. Inside the gym, dozens of humans in brightly colored fabric were willingly submitting themselves to horrors. One human, drenched in sweat, was picking a heavy bar off the floor and standing with it over and over as if gravity had insulted his family. Another lay pinned beneath a metal bar while a second human yelled, "One more rep, bro! You got this!" like it was a battlefield order. In the corner, a cluster of humans ran nowhere on mechanical tracks, faces twisted in misery, staring at nothing, breathing like they were dying, yet they did not stop. Raztil's second-in-command, Ensign Vari, watched with wide, horrified eyes. "Commander," Vari whispered, are they being punished?" Raztil zoomed in on one corner of the building. A sign read, "Personal Training," and a particularly muscular human was shouting, "Let's go! Pain is just weakness leaving the body." Raztil's translator did its best. Pain is just weakness evacuating your flesh shell. Vari flinched. They speak of pain like it is sacred. Raztil's frills darkened. "This is no prison. Look, there." He gestured with one claw. Outside the building, humans lined up in an orderly fashion. They scanned small devices, voluntarily transferred credits. To enter. "You mean," Vari swallowed, "they pay to go inside the torture facility?" "Yes," Raztil said quietly. The drone feed shifted to another corner, a section labeled "Free Weights." A human grunted, arms shaking as they struggled to press 2 heavy dumbbells overhead, their face contorted. "Why do they not stop? Their muscles are failing. Look at the micro tears. Another human slapped them on the back and shouted, "Yeah, that's how you grow." The translator rendered it as, "Yes, destroy yourself. You will return stronger." Rastil had seen many horrors. This still made his carapace itch. He opened a private channel to the research deck. "Science team, confirm, these are non-military civilians?" A tired voice answered, "Confirmed, Commander, cross-referenced with local records. They are office workers, students, retail employees." "Not soldiers?" "Negative." Rastil muted the line and stared at the screen where a human woman finished a set of deadlifts, dropped the weight with a thunderous crash, and smiled. "They smile after this?" Vari whispered. "They break themselves, and then they smile?" Rastil's mind raced. If this was civilian behavior, if their non-combatants willingly trained like this for recreation, what did their actual soldiers do? Rastil straightened. "Begin full recording," he ordered. "Flag this facility as High Priority Combat Conditioning Center. New classification, Terra Ground Ops Preparation Node." Vari gulped. "Should we warn Central Command?" Rastil watched as yet another human walked in, nodded casually, and headed straight toward a rack of heavy weights like it was greeting an old enemy. "Yes," he said, "and we may want to tell them something else as well." "What's that, sir?" Rastil bared his mandibles in something that wasn't quite a smile. "Under no circumstances," he said, "should we anger a species that masks its war training as a leg day."
Commander Rastil convened an emergency research council aboard the observation vessel Solace of Vigilance. He expected confusion. He did not expect terror. The scientists stared at the holographic playback of the human gym with the same haunted expressions usually reserved for black hole anomalies or ancient extinction devices. Dr. Zilvran, senior xenophysiologist, paused the footage on a human doing bicep curls. "Observe," he said, voice trembling. The human lifts a weight repeatedly until the limb begins to fail and then pushes harder. The footage resumed. The human grunted, struggled, face turning red, veins protruding, sweat dripping. Another human beside him shouted, "Come on, bro, fight it!" The translator rendered it, "Battle the weight, show no mercy." Zilvran flicked his frills anxiously. "They encourage each other to fight inanimate metal." Ensign Vari nodded solemnly. Perhaps the metal insulted them. Rastil considered this seriously before dismissing it. "No, it is ritualistic. Continue." Zilvran changed the display to a treadmill. A woman was sprinting full speed, expression contorted, lungs burning. Yet she accelerated. Here, the human attempts to escape an invisible predator. Note, there is no predator. Another human jogger beside her said, "Almost done, 2 more minutes." The translator rendered, "Do not give in, the hunt continues." One researcher fainted. Next, the scientists analyzed the squat rack. This time, they recoiled. A human descended under an absurdly heavy barbell, legs shaking, spine straining, body trembling as though preparing to explode. He stood back up, screaming triumphantly. Screaming. Vari whispered, "Is that a mating call?" Another scientist shook her head. "No, it seems to be pain-induced battle euphoria." Rastil leaned forward. "Observe his companions." The other humans were not shocked, not frightened, not concerned for their friend's structural stability. They were cheering. "Hype him up! Get that PR!" The translator spat. "Praise the pain master, ascend to glory." The lab fell silent. Zilvran whispered, "Commander, what is PR?" Rastil stroked his chin. "From context, I believe it means personal record, a self-imposed challenge, a test of dominance. Zilvran's frills drooped. Dominance over oneself? Rastel's eyes widened. That would mean humans battle themselves on purpose. The room erupted in frantic note-taking. The personal trainer. A muscular human walked behind a smaller human trying to lift weights. The trainer encouragingly shouted, "Let's go! Push! Push! I want to see you sweat!" The smaller human obeyed, smiling. Zilvran choked. "They have overseers." Vari whispered, "Taskmasters." "No," Rastel said slowly. "They lack whips, no chains, no coercion." The smaller human asked for the pain. The scientist wrung his claws. "Commander, what if humans require regular suffering to maintain psychological stability?" Everyone froze. No species they had encountered volunteered for torment. Pain was a warning. Pain was harm. Pain was avoidance. But humans chased it with enthusiasm. Zilvran cleared his throat. "And now, Commander, the most alarming discovery of all." He pressed a button. Footage appeared of a man finishing a brutal set of heavy squats. He collapsed onto a bench, shaking, sweating, barely conscious, then said, delightedly, "Feels good." Zilvran spread his claws helplessly. "Commander, how can agony feel good?" The room descended in horrified whispers. "They enjoy pain. They use weights to damage their muscles. They damage themselves to grow stronger. They punish their bodies for recreation." Rastel exhaled, antennae trembling. "Prepare a message to Central Command. Humans are not a Death World species." Everyone turned. "They are something worse." "What's worse than a Death Worlder?" Vari asked weakly. "A species that considers self-inflicted agony a leisure activity."
Commander Rastel did not want to send a field team into the human gym, but the Virel Council demanded it. "Observe their training rituals firsthand," the directive said. "Determine true threat level," the directive said. "Remain discreet," the directive said. Rastel looked at his chosen reconnaissance squad, 4 of the brightest, strongest, most mentally stable Virel operatives he had. He feared he would not see them again. The shuttle landed 3 blocks from Iron Temple Fitness, their disguises activated, holographic illusions that made them appear like normal humans. Normal, fragile, soft-skinned, easily breakable humans. This alone unnerved them. Ensign Vari tugged at his hoodie. "Commander, why do humans wear casual cloth armor instead of plates? To deceive predators?" Rastel guessed, "or to move faster during combat rituals." They entered the gym. A wave of heat, sound, grunting, and metallic clanging nearly knocked the team backwards. Operative Trin sniffed. "It smells like salt and regret." Human voices echoed through the chamber. "Push it! Let's go! Feel the burn! One more rep!" The Virel froze like prey animals spotting a predator. Rastel whispered, "Remember your cover identities. Blend in." A woman carrying 2 heavy dumbbells walked by and nodded at them. "Sup?" The Virel nodded back stiffly. She continued on, unaware she had just terrified an entire military squad. Ensign Vari stepped onto a treadmill, observing the controls. "Commander, this appears to simulate fleeing. Perhaps I will sample it." He pressed the green button. The machine started at a slow walking pace. "That is not so bad." He pressed the speed arrow by mistake. The machine accelerated violently. Vari's eyes bulged. "Commander, I am unable to flee correctly." He sprinted at impossible speeds, legs blurring. Rastel attempted to help, but a human trainer walked over and clapped encouragingly. "Yeah, man, great pace. Keep it up." Vari screamed internally. He wants more? The trainer turned the speed up again. Meanwhile, Operative Trin picked up a 10-pound dumbbell. She tested the weight. Not heavy. A nearby human laughed. Start light? Good idea. Warm up, girl. Trin frowned. Warm up for what? Then the human effortlessly lifted a 45-pound dumbbell with one arm. Trin dropped hers in shock. Commander, the small one is stronger than me. Raztil felt the dread spreading. But the worst was Operative Zarek. He approached the squat rack, observing humans placing heavy metal bars onto their shoulders and bending. He whispered, horrified, "They compress their own spinal columns willingly." A personal trainer spotted him. "You new? Want to try squats?" Zarek, wanting to appear normal, nodded weakly. The trainer loaded the bar. Start light. Light apparently meant enough weight to collapse a small starfighter hull. Zarek ducked under it. His legs shook violently. The trainer shouted, "Chest up! Hips back! Let's go!" Zarek descended 3 inches. His soul left his body. "Commander! Commander, I am dying!" "Stand up!" Razku ordered. "I cannot!" The trainer, completely misreading the situation, yelled, "Yes, you can, bro!" Zarek somehow stood again. The humans around him cheered. Zarek whispered, trembling, "Commander, they celebrate suffering." The squad limped out of the gym, disguises flickering from stress, legs wobbling, psyches shattered. Raztil recorded his final assessment. Humans willingly endure physical torment that would break trained Virel soldiers. Their recreational conditioning suggests a species preparing for constant war. Do not provoke. Vari added in a weak voice, "Leg day must never be spoken of again." Raztil nodded solemnly. He agreed. He had survived battles, invasions, and cosmic horrors. Nothing compared to the human gym. Commander Raztil had barely finished filing his trauma report when the alarm sounded across the ship. "Commander!" Ensign Vari cried, barging into the briefing hall. "We have discovered something worse than leg day." Raztil's frills stiffened. "Worse? Explain." Vari activated the hologram. The projection showed a plastic container labeled Ultra Mega Death Pump Pre-Workout Formula. Flavor, Watermelon Oblivion. The assembled officers recoiled. "It appears to be Terran combat stimulant powder," Vari said, voice quivering. Dr. Exilvran leaned closer, examining the ingredients. "Commander," he said gravely, "this substance contains caffeine levels exceeding safety thresholds for 14 species. It also contains chemicals we cannot identify, and something called proprietary blend." Raztil locked up. Nothing good had ever been named proprietary blend. "What do the humans use it for?" he asked. Vari pressed a button. The footage changed. A muscular human stood in the locker room. He scooped a glowing neon powder into a shaker bottle, added water, shook it violently until it looked radioactive. Then he drank it, raw, straight, no hesitation. His entire body vibrated like a reactor charging up. His pupils dilated, his skin flushed. He exhaled loudly and shouted, "Let's destroy this workout!" The translator rendered it, "Initiate annihilation sequence." The alien officer screamed. Exilvran clutched his datapad. "Commander, he just ingested something that should induce cardiac shutdown." "And yet," Raztil whispered, "he appears excited." The footage continued. The human walked into the gym and immediately began bench-pressing weights that defied logic. His face contorted into a battle expression. He was screaming. Others were screaming. It was screaming season. "We cannot remain calm," Vari said softly. "This is not recreational. This is ritualistic preparation for warfare." The footage showed two humans leaning over a container of pre-workout. One human said, "Dry scoop it." The other nodded, poured the raw powder into his mouth, no water, and detonated into coughs, shivers, and primal noises not found in biology textbooks. He slammed his fist on the counter. His eyes widened like portals. Veins bulged like hydraulic lines. Then he whispered, "I'm ascending." The translator generated, "I am transcending reality." The bridge fell into horrified silence. Exilvran stammered, "Commander, that human just ingested something that should induce cardiac shutdown." "And yet," Vari added, "he survived." "Not just survived," Rastil corrected, "he became stronger." Rastil reluctantly forwarded the footage to the Virel High Council. Moments later, the council replayed the pre-workout ritual in the Senate chamber. Dignified elder ambassadors, leaders who had ruled for centuries, watched in sheer terror as a human dry-scooped neon dust and screamed like a battle titan. One elder collapsed, another begged for the footage to stop, a third whispered, "This species, they awaken ancient powers within themselves for recreation." A blind priestess muttered, "It is worse than prophecy foretold." The council chair trembled out a verdict. "Under no circumstances shall we provoke humanity. Under no conditions shall we engage them in ground combat. And above all, never interrupt a human during this pre-workout ritual." Rastil ended his report with a final note. If the gym was alarming, their pre-battle elixirs are catastrophic. Humans activate themselves like weapons. Vari nodded solemnly. "Commander, what if this is only the beginning?" Rastil sighed. "With humans, it always is."
Commander Rastil awoke to screaming. Not battle screams, not alarm screams. No, this was the shrill, high-pitched terror wailing of a Virel scientist. He sprinted into the medical bay and froze. Dr. Zilvron was clinging to the ceiling, literally clinging, all four limbs locked onto the light fixture like some deranged fluorescent gargoyle. "Commander!" Zilvron shrieked. "I can see sound!" Rastil closed his eyes. Who gave him pre-workout? The entire room fell silent, except for Zilvron humming the national anthem at 800 beats per minute. Ensign Vari raised a shaky claw. "It was a scientific test." Rastil stared. "A scientific test?" "Yes," Vari said meekly, "to determine how humans tolerate this energy dust." Rastil groaned. "And the result?" As if on cue, Zilvron launched off the ceiling, sprinted across the room, punched an empty chair so hard it exploded, and shouted, "I must ascend the stairs of destiny!" "There are no stairs on this ship," Rastil yelled. "I will build some!" The research team gathered around a glowing scoop of ultra-mega death pump watermelon oblivion. The powder shimmered ominously. Dr. Zilvron recorded a scientific entry. Hypothesis: humans possess unknown biological adaptations allowing consumption of this chemical warfare stimulant. Testing a sublethal microdose for cross-species tolerance. He dipped the tiniest speck onto his tongue. The lights flickered. The room trembled. Zilvron whispered, "I feel motivated." Within seconds, his motivation escalated into insanity. He began running laps around the lab, then sprinting vertically up walls, then climbing onto equipment. "Doctor, please descend!" Vari screamed. "Can't! Heart rate reaching new dimension!" Rastil dodged as the doctor blitzed past, moving faster than any Virel had since the Great Meteor Crisis. "Vari," Rastil barked, "what dosage did he consume?" "A microdose, 1/millionth of a human serving." Rastil froze.
1 millionth? Yes. They both stared as the doctor deadlifted a medical bed over his head while singing off-key in 3 languages. Raztil whispered, horrified, "If this is 1 millionth, what happens when humans take a full scoop?" Vari shivered. "Commander, humans take 2 scoops." Raztil dropped his tablet. "We must never go to war with them." 3 security officers tried to corner Zilvron. He bolted. They chased. They failed. One officer recorded, "Subject has achieved beast mode. Recommend immediate prayer." Zilvron powered across the hallway, shouting, "I understand leg day now." All pre-workout highs must end. Zilvron suddenly slumped onto the floor, exhausted beyond reason. Raztil scanned him. Tachycardia, muscle failure, electrolyte collapse. Did you not consider human recovery rituals? Vari blinked. Recovery rituals? Raztil sighed. Water, food, rest. Humans consume protein shakes. They stretch. They cool down. Vari gasped. Humans suffer through all that and still choose to return to the gym? Raztil nodded. That is why we must never provoke the species called Terra. Raztil submitted a new report. Human combat elixirs, known as pre-workout, induce extreme physiological responses. If humans willingly ingest this substance, they are either biologically superior or profoundly unhinged. Both scenarios are concerning. The council reply was immediate. Contact with human gyms is now forbidden for all Virel personnel. Raztil exhaled. But he knew this was only the beginning, because humans didn't stop at pre-workout. No, humans had something even worse, something called CrossFit.
Commander Raztil believed he had seen the worst of human physical torment. Leg day, pre-workout rituals, squats that nearly killed Operative Zurich, dry scooping that turned Dr. Zilvran into a ceiling demon. Surely, he thought, this was the peak of human madness. He was wrong. The footage came in from recon drone A-17, which had drifted too close to a Terran training facility. Its sign read, "CrossFit Haven, unleash the beast within." That alone was ominous, but the drone entered anyway. The first thing the alien saw was a human doing something impossible. He dropped to the floor, flung his legs back, slammed his chest to the ground, jumped up, and then leaped into the air like he was celebrating the destruction of an enemy ship. Drone logs captured the exchange. Operative's voice recording. "Commander, the human is performing rapid self-inflicted collapses." Another CrossFitter repeated the movement, and another, and another. A room full of humans violently throwing themselves at the floor on purpose, over and over. Raztil whispered, What is this ritual called?" The drone's translator scanned the sign on the wall. Burpees. Vari turned pale. That sounds aggressive. Raztil nodded. It is aggressive. Next, a woman approached a tall wooden box. Raztil relaxed a little. A container, storage perhaps. Then the woman crouched, focused, and launched herself upward, landing on the box like a predator claiming the high ground. She jumped down, then up again, and again. Nobody forced her, nobody threatened her. She simply wanted to jump on tall objects repeatedly. Operative Tren shook her head. They seek to defeat gravity itself. The drone captured a male human failing his jump and crashing to the floor. His friend yelled, "Walk it off, bro. Get back at it." Translator output. "You have been wounded. Attack again immediately." Raztil scribbled frantic notes. Then came the worst misunderstanding of all. 2 massive ropes, coiled like the arms of a dormant beast, lay in the corner. A human grabbed them, one in each hand. Then he began whipping them, hard. The ropes flew in violent waves, slamming the ground rhythmically like shock waves through a battlefield. Raztil's mandibles clicked in horror. They are punishing serpents. No, Vari whispered, the serpents are dead. Then whom do they fight? The drone zoomed out to show 20 humans, all whipping ropes with superhuman fury. The sound was thunderous, the sweat was torrential, the expressions were ecstatic. One human yelled, "Embrace the pain!" Translator rendered, "Pain is our allegiance." The bridge crew fainted. A human coach announced, "All right, everyone, today's WOD is 50 burpees, 30 box jumps, 40 snatches, 800-meter run. Repeat 3 times." The aliens recoiled. Vari clutched his chest. "Repeating that?" Raztil whispered, "What does WOD stand for?" Drone translator beeped, "Workout of the day." Raztil shook his head. No, that cannot be. That is a war simulation, a torture sequence, a death gauntlet." The translator added an optional note. Humans voluntarily choose a different WOD daily. Raztil screamed. When Raztil presented CrossFit footage, the council lost its composure entirely. One ambassador vomited, another tried to flee, another fainted while whispering, Why are they like this?" The chair issued a new decree. CrossFit facilities shall be classified as extreme combat training zones. Do not approach, do not observe, and under no circumstances should any viril attempt participation. Raztil closed the case file with trembling hands. Humans were terrifying, unpredictable, physically chaotic, and they paid memberships for this.
Commander Raztil had just finished filing his 93rd Human Physical Rituals Are Terrifying report when the nightmare got worse. The humans found out. Not through psychic powers, not through advanced sensors, not through diplomatic leaks. No, through pure dumb luck, the most dangerous human ability. It began when a CrossFit trainer named Becca noticed something hovering above her class. A small metallic object, blue light blinking, moving suspiciously. She squinted. That's weird. Did someone bring a drone again? The athletes turned their sweat-soaked faces upward. The alien drone froze mid-air. Becca marched toward it like a woman who'd had enough nonsense today. "Hey, whoever's flying this, cut it out. You can't film class without signing a waiver." The drone's stealth mode faltered. Its cloaking flickered. Its propulsion sputtered in panic. Then, pop! It dropped out of the air and hit the ground like a guilty Roomba. Humans surrounded it immediately. "Whoa, is this yours? Dude, this looks expensive. Think it's military tech? Nah, probably Elon." Becca scratched her chin and said the sentence that doomed the viril. "Whoever lost this should come get it. They can join the workout too." She placed the drone neatly on the sign-in counter, with a sticky note. "Found. Cool drone. Claim inside. Free trial today." Raztil watched the live feed of humans poking, prodding, and debating how to reboot the drone. His blood pressure spiked. "They have captured recon drone A-17, he shouted. Vari gasped. "Will they disassemble it, torture it, consume its energy core?" Raztil zoomed in. The humans had placed a towel over the drone to keep it warm. He blinked. "I do not understand." Zilverin read the sticky note. "Commander, they expect a visitor." Raztil's frills twitched. "We must retrieve the drone immediately." An disguised away team approached the gym, each shaking with fear. CrossFit sounds echoed from inside. 20 more box jumps. Let's go, push your limits. Pain is temporary, pride is forever." Vari whimpered. Inside, Becca turned as the aliens entered, in human disguises. "Hey," she said warmly, "you here to claim the drone?" Rostel froze. "Yes," he stammered. "It is ours." Becca clapped joyfully. "Awesome! Before you take it, want to hop in for today's WOD?" The viril nearly fainted. Becca misinterpreted their horror as shyness. "Don't worry," she said. "We'll scale it for beginners." Rostel whispered to Zarek, "What is scale?" Zarek answered bleakly, "It means mercy." Becca continued, "You'll do great. Humans of all levels are welcome." Vari leaned close. "Commander, they think we are weak." Rostel stiffened. He was a decorated military officer, a veteran of 6-star campaigns. He could not let a soft-skinned human think him fragile. He puffed up. "We accept." Vari's soul left his body. Becca smiled. "Perfect. Let's start with a light warm-up." The viril relaxed. Warm-up sounded gentle. Then she yelled, 50 air squats, 40 knee-ups, 30 push-ups, run a lap." Rostel screamed internally. Vari's disguise flickered. Zarek collapsed during Rep 3. Becca nodded approvingly. "Great intensity." The aliens gasped for air as humans breezed through the workout like it was nothing. Zilverin croaked, "Commander, this is merely the warm-up?" Becca blew her whistle. "And now the real workout begins." The aliens sobbed. After 17 minutes of agony and 1 drone successfully retrieved, the viril escaped, disguises glitching, dignity shattered. Rostel collapsed in the shuttle and whispered his final assessment. "Humans invite strangers into their torture rituals with enthusiasm. They call it community. I call it war by kindness." He held up the sticky note Becca had given him. "Come back any time. We love new faces." Rostel shuddered. "They want us to return." Vari wept. "We must never return." But fate had other plans, because the humans had invited them to Leg Day.
Commander Rostil once led warriors into the maw of Eklavar, a black hole-adjacent region where ships distorted, screams echoed backwards, and time itself grew teeth. That was easier than Leg Day. It began with a simple message from Becca, the relentlessly cheerful CrossFit coach who had nearly killed them during the warm-up last visit. "Hey guys, Leg Day tomorrow. Hope to see you there." Rostil stared at the emoji. The little flexing arm haunted him. "Commander," Vari croaked, "why do they send symbols of strength as casual communication?" Rostil didn't know. He didn't want to know. But their orders from the Virel Science Directorate were clear. You must return. Humanity's leg-based rituals require further observation. Rostil felt his soul wither. The humans welcomed them with smiles. Smiles, as though joy was an appropriate emotion before mass suffering. "Glad you came back," Becca beamed. "Today's WOD is all legs. Squats, lunges, step-ups, wall sits. You'll love it." The aliens trembled. Zarek whispered, "I do not wish to love it." Becca clapped. "Let's warm up." The aliens braced for brutality. Becca shouted, 10 minutes of light jogging." The aliens sagged in relief. Then Becca added, "Backwards." Rostil stumbled immediately. Vari crashed into a wall. Zarek fell onto a stationary bike and apologized to it. Becca nodded proudly. "Great effort! You guys really push yourselves." "No, we are simply falling," Rostil wheezed. "All right, team," Becca announced. "We're doing 200 air squats." Rostil blinked. "Did she say 200? Zarek answered, "I believe she said 200,000. Humans began squatting rapidly, rhythmically, powerfully. Their thighs bulged, their knees flexed with biomechanical joy. Meanwhile, the virel looked like collapsing marionettes. After 17 squats, Vari's disguise flickered.
After 19, his legs locked in a shape not found in anatomy books. After 23, he whispered, "Commander, my limbs are reversing." Next, Becca cheerfully announced, "Grab some dumbbells, lunge across the room. If it hurts, you're doing it right." This sentence caused 3 virile heart palpitations. The humans picked weights. The aliens picked smaller weights. The humans picked larger weights. The aliens put theirs down silently. Becca corrected them gently. Start with something manageable. They ended up with 10-pound dumbbells, each. Rastiel tried to lunge. He sank halfway and froze. His legs trembled like malfunctioning shock absorbers. Zarek attempted it too. He tipped sideways and took out an entire rack of foam rollers. Becca rushed over. "Guys, don't worry. Lunges are tough for beginners." Rastiel gasped, "How long until we are no longer beginners?" Becca smiled warmly. "Years." The virile whimpered. Becca pointed to the wall. "Everyone, sit against it. Hold this position for 1 minute." No chair, no support, just legs. Humans obeyed instantly, dropping into perfect 90-degree angles like warriors waiting for battle drums. Rastiel attempted the stance. Gravity disagreed. He slid slowly down the wall, whispering, "Help me, Vari." Vari replied, "I cannot. I too slid into an accidental floor puddle." A human teenager looked at them sympathetically. "First time doing wall sits?" Rastiel croaked, "Why would anyone do this a second time?" The teen shrugged. "Builds character." The translator rendered, "Creates new emotional trauma but makes you stronger." The aliens nodded. This sounded accurate. Finally, after an eternity disguised as 47 minutes, Becca shouted, "Great job, team! Stretch time!" The Varel collapsed. Not sat, collapsed. Humans stretched. The aliens lay on the floor in a heap, disguises flickering like dying lanterns. Becca smiled warmly. "You guys are improving. Can't wait to see you next week." Rastiel whispered, "Next week?" Vari sobbed quietly. Zarek's soul floated several inches above his body. Rastiel made his final leg day conclusion. Humans voluntarily destroy their lower limbs to rebuild them stronger. Their capacity for suffering is unparalleled. Their thighs are weapons. Avoid at all costs. But the humans weren't done. No, they had one last horror to show the aliens. A ritual known as HIIT training.
Commander Rastiel had already survived horrors beyond reason, burpees that defied physics, leg day that rewrote anatomy, battle ropes wielded like weapons, CrossFit wides that could shatter starship hulls. But nothing prepared him for HIIT training. High-intensity interval training. Even the words sounded like war crimes. Becca greeted them at the door, cheerful as ever. "You guys came back. I'm so proud." Rastiel stiffened. It wasn't pride. It was fear-based compliance. "Today," she continued, "we're doing an HIIT session. Super fun, super fast, super intense." Vari's frills flattened. "Commander, why do humans always speak with positivity before pain?" "I do not know," Rastiel whispered, "but it terrifies me." Becca clapped. "Let's warm up." Warm up. The Viril braced. Then Becca announced, 30 jumping jacks. To humans, light. To aliens, catastrophic. After 12, Vari lost control of his limbs and began rotating like a confused windmill. Zarek performed something between a jump and a cry for help. Rastiel's disguise flickered every time his feet hit the floor. Becca smiled proudly. "You're doing great." They were not. Becca shouted, "Round 1, 10 burpees, 10 box jumps, repeat 3 times, go!" Humans exploded into motion. The aliens stared in horror. "Commander," Zarek whispered,
They have combined two methods of self-destruction. Rastil nodded gravely. They have created a hybrid torment ritual. Vari attempted a burpee. He dropped to the ground. His legs shot backward. He flailed. He made a noise between a squeak and a sob. Then he tried to jump. He did not jump. He rose slightly and immediately fell sideways. Becca rushed over. "Nice effort! You're getting it!" Rastil's brain broke. "Commander," Vari gasped, "why do they praise failure?" "I believe," Rastil said slowly, "humans consider effort itself a victory." Zarek dropped his tablet. "That is the most dangerous philosophy I have ever heard." Becca cheerfully shouted, "Round 2, mountain climbers, then sprinting laps. Push your limits." The aliens groaned. Humans hit the floor and began mountain climbing, rapid-fire knee drives like they were scaling invisible volcanoes. Zarek tried. His legs tangled instantly. Vari attempted sprinting. He achieved what could generously be described as panicked shuffling. Meanwhile, humans flew around the track like predators trained by lightning itself. Rastil gasped, They run willingly after leg day." Becca jogged past them effortlessly. "Come on, get that heart rate up." Zilvrin, observing from the safety of the entrance, fainted just watching. Becca shouted, "Last round, Tabata!" Rastil asked, "What is a Tabata?" The translator spoke coldly. "Short periods of extreme exertion followed by brief suffering pauses, designed to break the soul while strengthening the body." The aliens shivered. Becca set the timer. 20 seconds work, 10 seconds rest, 8 rounds. Humans cheered. Vari whispered, "Why are they celebrating?" Zarek muttered, "They enjoy shared trauma." Burpees, lunges, sprints, push-ups, endless cycles of agony and recovery. The aliens lasted 2 rounds. Then the disguises glitched so violently that Becca noticed. She smiled. "Oh, new glow effect. That's cool." Their holograms stabilized from sheer embarrassment. Humans finished sweaty, smiling, high-fiving, proud. The aliens finished unconscious. Becca stood over them, hands on hips. "You guys crushed it. See you tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" Rastil croaked. "Commander's note. HIIT training must be classified as a planetary threat." Vari added faintly, "If humans do this for fun, what do they do for war?" Rastil whispered the truth they all feared. "I do not want to know." But they were about to find out, because next, humans invited them to something even more terrifying, a Spartan race.
Commander Rastil thought he had finally adjusted to humanity's recreational madness. Gyms, CrossFit, leg day, HIIT training. He had survived, physically, emotionally, and barely existentially. But then Becca sent a message that froze the blood of every Varel on the ship. "Hey guys, doing a Spartan race this weekend. You should totally join." Rastil stared at the words. Spartan Race. 2 terms that independently meant historical violence and competitive suffering. Combined, they formed what could only be described as military catastrophe disguised as cardio. Vari whispered, "Commander, is this a battle challenge?" "I fear," Rastil replied, "that it may be worse." The aliens landed discreetly near the event grounds. They expected a military camp. What they found was infinitely more disturbing. Thousands of humans, laughing, stretching, painting numbers on their arms, wearing athletic armor and war paint. And everywhere, giant obstacle structures towering like siege engines. Walls as tall as buildings, mud pits that resembled alien swamp trenches, rope climbs stretching toward the sun, barbed wire tunnels. Rastil whispered, Why do they do this willingly? Zarek answered, "This must be a planetary martial initiation." Vari trembled. "There are children here. They train their young for war." Even the council footage hadn't prepared them for this. A loudspeaker blared, "Spartans, are you ready?" The crowd roared like an army preparing to conquer galaxies. Raztil screamed internally, "Why are they shouting?" Then a cannon fired. Humans sprinted forward as though chased by death. The aliens were swept into the stampede, dragged by the force of sheer enthusiasm. A massive vertical wall loomed ahead. Humans leapt at it, literally leapt, grabbing the edge, hauling themselves up with explosive upper body strength. One woman pulled her friend up with a single arm. "That one," Vari whispered, "could defeat an entire battalion." The aliens attempted the climb. They slid down, repeatedly. A human jogger stopped to help. "Need a boost?" Before they could refuse, she lifted Vari like a backpack and threw him over the wall. Raztil wrote a mental note: "Never anger small human females." Humans dove into the mud like delighted amphibians and crawled under barbed wire, laughing. The aliens crawled too. Immediately, their disguises clogged, their gear short-circuited. Vari became stuck halfway, legs flailing. "Commander, I am trapped and possibly drowning." A human child passed him. "Keep going, mister. You got this." The translator rendered it as an inspirational war cry. Vari gained the will to live again. Humans picked up spears, actual spears, and hurled them at targets with alarming accuracy. Raztil nearly collapsed. "They train in ancient weapon arts. They can fight from range as well?" A man handed Raztil a spear. "Give it a shot." Raztil threw it weakly. It flew 5 centimeters. The man grinned. "Nice form." The aliens were baffled. Humans treated failure as progress, another terrifying philosophy. Yes, fire, a literal line of flames. Humans sprinted toward it with joy. Vari shrieked, "Commander, they are running into a combustion field." Raztil steadied him. "We must do as they do. It is cultural respect." The aliens leapt, barely, screaming. Humans cheered wildly. "You guys did it!" The aliens cried. They had survived. Humans handed them medals, actual metal symbols of triumph. "You earned it," Becca said brightly. Raztil stared at the medal. "We survived war simulation?" Becca laughed. "War? No, dude, this is just for fun." The aliens froze. Fun. Fun! Raztil turned to his team. "If this is what humans do for fun, we must never learn what they do for war." Vari nodded weakly. "I fear no species could withstand it." Zarek whispered, staring at his medal with awe and dread, "Commander, we have witnessed the truth." Raztil closed his eyes, speaking the final HFY verdict. Humanity is terrifying, not because they fight wars, but because they train like this when they're not. He added, "File classification. Humanity is a level 10 threat, disguised as a friendly fitness community." And with that, the aliens fled Earth, terrified, awestruck, and deeply confused. But one thing was certain: they would never, not ever,